So take to that moment, right? Everything goes nuts. You blowing up. Literally, like, everything is going crazy, and you get to that point that you think, wow, we've made it. Right? You have $200,000 in the bank, and Nick, what happens after that? Like, what year is this? What happens next? Like,
I mean, I think there's a lot. There's a lot of different things that happen next. So we begin to, like, just expand. So like we got our own in-house production. I brought on some of my homies, and like nobody in there knew what they were doing, but we were having a good time doing it. But we just began to we got into a national retail Zoomies. Shout out to my boy Dakota if you're watching. He helped us get in there. That's a crazy story how we got into that. But just begin to learn the business, and some of it was carnage. Some of it was like, man, this is really cool getting these big POs. And through that is when also we began to kind of like develop. We started doing like side projects with other entities and businesses. And really, I spent I think it was about $80K on a like cut and sew line. So cut and sew is like, basically it's clothes, like custom clothes, like your pants, your jeans. Like somebody thought of that pattern, they went and got the fabric, they sewed it together, they got it to a sales rep, took it to a store. That sales guy sold it to the buyer, and then it got on the rack. So that's like cut and sew. So we did like, I flew out to New York a couple times and met my good friend Eugene. And we came up with this amazing custom cut and sew premium line. So it was like, we had like, I mean, Letterman jackets that had the sleeves had like, it was like having like a premium like Italian like handbag on a jacket. It was stupid. And so we did this whole lineup, cost us $80,000, sold it to a couple stores. And in the cycle, once once you put that investment on, like you sell it, then you go into production. That's a whole nother deal. And so when we went into production, we didn't have, we had somebody guarantee the money for production. Yeah. So I spent all that money thinking that, okay, cool, I sold it to the stores. Now it's time to produce. Now I need to get this other investment. Yeah. When it was time for that, the investment kind of fell through because it's like the economy went down. So basically I lost $80,000. So think about how many T-shirts you can make for $80,000.
That's a lot of T-shirts.
That's a lot of T-shirts, my brother.
That's a lot of T-shirts.
It's a part of the game,
right?
And so we recouped, and then that's when I had my first shop downtown. That lasted a couple of months, and then I had somebody approach me about expanding. Here I am back on a plane back to LA, back to New York, buying from my new shop. And that thing blew up. And so just, really in 2015, I went from having like possibly 2 locations fully kitted out, like with my dream brands, to like nothing. Yeah. And so, and that's when you're faced with, do I keep on fighting for this dream, or should I just go get a gig and quit? And
pack it in, get a marketing job somewhere.
So I'm literally in my garage, bro. Yeah. Just thinking of what I'm gonna do. What do I know? I know T-shirts, I know apparel. So I just began to call people. Hey, you need T-shirts made? Yeah. Hey, you need somebody to design something? And slowly but surely, we started like what we know today as GRPFLY Creative. That's our agency. So now GRPFLY Creative is like what we do. Okay.
So that's how you pivoted into not just making money from what you sell merchandise, but it's using your knowledge from the past to help and add back to what you said earlier. Being a pastor is adding value.
Adding value. And so it's like, went from, literally working out of my garage in Oklahoma heat, no AC, to, we dug ourselves out of that. Yeah. And eventually we got back to some retail. But basically to this day, like we work with Sanders Energy. We've done all the Life Church, a lot of Life Church stuff. We've done Transformation Church, which is like they just bought the Spirit Center in Tulsa. Huge, like Fortune 500 companies. If I told you the names we work with, man, you'd be like, what? But that's kind of what we do now, and through that brought the brand. That gave us the revenue and resources to bring back the brand. Gotcha. And so now I would say like it's 2021. Like we had a record year where we I doubled. I don't want to say numbers, but like you know, that investment,
right?
You know, we killed that number.
Good.
So I'll just put it like that.
Awesome.
We killed that number, but it's just like, you know, it's a testament to like, you know, to having good people around you, to believing if God puts something in your heart to do, like, you know, you got to see it through.
Yeah.
You know, even when it sucks, because dude, it really did suck.
Oh, I'm sure. When you go from making it, right? It's just like literally skyrocket to, you know, to loving life, traveling around the country, meeting all these people, and having amazing Italian brands on your arms, all this stuff, right? Like,
oh, it was great.
And then you're like, now what do I have? Now I'm in my garage in Oklahoma with no AC.
Yeah.
You know, you're making shirts and you don't need an iron anymore because it's so hot because the shirts come out there fresh already.
Like it was so hot in there, but like, you know, when I think about today, you know, and that's why like I'm so passionate. Like, you know, I think this next pivot for us, Mike, is like, I mean, I really feel, and this is real time right here. So I really feel like, you know, for me personally, you know, as I grow my team, you know, I just brought on a GM. His name is Tony, and Tony Foster Jr. He's a crazy vocalist, good dude, but you know, he's kind of overseeing my operations. But I think the next pivot for me is like I want to create a space for the next Vernons.
Gotcha.
And I really feel like I went through that carnage, so I can help somebody else direct them on what to do. So I have a huge dream. You know, and it's to build an infrastructure, almost to build a destination space where creatives and, you know, artists alike can come, have a place, you know, office, have resources to create, and then, you know, almost have like a destination spot for retail, entertainment, food, drink, whatever, but it's all in this creative like ecosystem to where, you know, people are thriving. And so that, and the more that I want to coach people, I just want to just be able to be like, hey, let's talk about your business.
Right.
How can I help? You know, we started a nonprofit called Urban Bridge, and it's basically to do things, and we're going to bridge the opportunity gap for minorities, you know, through investment and venture. And also we have an outreach arm through that called The Bridge. On the east side, we got a, right off of Martin Luther King, 18th and Martin Luther King, we have a youth center called The Bridge, led by Marcus Jackson, who also is a co-founder of Urban Bridge, to where we're just really like being a bridge of hope for young people and helping them learn financial literacy, helping them to have a safe environment, helping them get a meal, you know, help them that, you know, there's even, you know, they can go in there and have like, speak to a counselor and just we can walk through things together. So, I mean, that's the pivot. And so like, but I realized this, Mike, I had to go through all that.
Oh, you've got to. Yeah, you can't just say, you're right. You have to go through all that, and because you can draw from all that knowledge, and when someone comes to you and you're like, hey, I know exactly how you feel because I've been through it.
I've been in the garage.
I've literally been there. Like, I've gone from flying to LA or New York to being in my, like, I know how it is, which is great because then they respect you, right? And rather than some kid coming in or guy coming in or whatever it is, that's just like, that sees right through you. That's the last thing you want.